We're gonna try again. We're gonna try again. All right, ready? Ready? Boom. You don't know how hard it was to set this stream up and the hustle that I had to go through, but that's okay because all you're going to do is chat and say that I was late. Hey, it's okay. I'm here. It's the Amateur League. We've got racing action here from Donington Park. The first international race in the Drive-Thru Sim Series history. I say international, and by that I mean other than Canada and the US, of course, because that's where the series is based. But here we are. We've flown all the cars over to Great Britain. And we are in for quite a show on this fantastic old racetrack. So much history behind it. And we're about to make history today. Which of these Amateur League drivers will be the first to take a win on European soil? Well, give me a couple minutes. I still have to get my chat up on the screen, but that's fine because you can watch a little bit of practice here. Quite an interesting track here, Donington. We've got 10 turns, everything from the fantastic craner curves winding down the hill into some great passing zones like the S's, and of course, turn 1. Should be in for a pretty good show. We certainly were a couple of weeks ago down at Barrie Speedway, but this is an entirely different kind of racetrack. It'll be interesting to see how these drivers fare here today. Who's going to do well back on the road courses. Let's get right on over to the action. Skip ahead. We're going to go ahead and simulate our qualifying here. Luckily, we can actually fit all the cars on the track, which means we don't need to send anyone home. So we can just run qualifying right here, right now. And it's as easy as that. So Dual Shock on pole with a 1 minute 4.753. Nitro pretty close behind. Then it's Mitchell Carter, Cyclone, Nick Sant, David Alvarez, Anthony Lopez, Jake Corway, NASCAR Fan 48, and then NASCAR Fan 09. So starting at the back, we've got Mountain Dew Fan for Life and Roger Gregory. Not a very good run for them. I'll go ahead and save this just in case as well. You can never be too careful with that. I've still got to pop my chat out really quick here, so let's skip on over to the race. And as I'm still doing things on my other screen here, because I had to set all my stuff up in a span of around 20 minutes, and that includes SimSeries stuff. Don't worry. Things will work out. Let me just make sure I've got my Streamlabs notifications up so I know when you guys are following or subscribing or donating. I appreciate all of it. Thank you to all of you who managed to chat without saying I'm late. There is nothing worse than some child telling you you're late. As if I'd forgotten or something. Like, of course I know I'm late. I'm working hard to put this stream out. The last thing I want is some kid going, "Oh, you're 5 minutes late." It's like, yeah, pal. I'm working on it. You want me to put this out or not? One day, I swear, I'm going to add a minute every time someone says you're late. And we'll sit around here for a couple hours. God damn it. Thanks for the 5 bits, Nort. I do have my stuff up so I can see everything now. I see y'all in the YouTube chat, everyone in the Twitch chat, of course. And let's just cut on right to the action. For the first time in Great Britain, we're going to try and get to the command without missing it. Oh, that's pretty darn good. The most famous words in motorsport.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Settle in, relax, take a deep breath. It's a long, hard race. Gotta pace yourself.
and the field will pace around. We'll get a chance to look at this racetrack for those of you who don't know it. Pretty tight turn 1 here. It's a right-hander, but the exit opens up, so it's actually almost better to be on the outside through turn 1 because you can really get the power down pretty smooth here through the craner curves. Turn 2 and turn 3, this steep, swooping downhill sets up for a pretty tight turn number 4. At the bottom of the hill here, drivers are going to get really close together because the track tightens up and then opens up again for a few more high-speed corners. Turn 5 and turn 6 under Starkey's Bridge. These are really tough because you're getting the power down, but you're also trying to keep it on the racing surface. I think we'll see drivers using up as much track as possible. And here, this really, really hard entry because you go from turn 6, the left-hander, into the really, really slow turn 7, the right-hander, and then up the hill through the double apex, turn 8. Heather Price asks, where's the Sim Series racing at after this? After this, at around 5 o'clock, maybe a little bit later, because a little bit behind schedule, but we will be at Bristol for the NASCAR, for the drive-through Sim Series, and oh boy, we know Bristol puts on a good show. So we'll have 42 cars battling it out under the lights, but for now, the Amateur League, and this really, really tight hairpin. You've got turn 9 and turn 10, it's this tight right-left between two really long straightaways. Should be a very interesting spot. But for now, the Dodge Challenger pace car pulls in, and DualShock will take the green flag here in Great Britain. He's got the pole, but he's starting on the outside. Nitro having to look to the inside through turn 1, but he should be able to get the power down coming out of turn 2, and he will clear Nitro into the lead of the race. Down the hill, the field twisting and turning, Nitro to the inside, but he gets driven around the outside by the 88 of Mitchell Carter, who gets a great run out of the corner and clear into second place. Nitro, meanwhile, is under attack from the 40 of Nick Sant, who is right behind the 56 into the braking zone of turn 7. Cyclone behind, and Anthony Lopez getting a little bit wide. David Alvarez going to have a look to the inside. Back in the pack, everyone is all over the place through turn 8. And out onto Starkey's straight for the first time. Looks like the top 10 or so have sorted themselves out, but deep in the pack, it is anybody's game. Into the chicane for the very first time. DualShock clear in the lead. Mitchell Carter pretty close behind. Then it's Nitro and Nick Sant, and DualShock goes a little bit wide. This could give Mitchell Carter a chance at the lead. Down the front straight. Nitro's coming in the pits. There's problems with the 56, but the 88's going to the inside for first place. Into turn 1, Mitchell Carter, the orange Fanta car, can't get a good exit. And DualShock will hold on to first place for now, but Nitro is in the pits. Problems for the 56. He only made it one lap. Not what you want to see. And the two leaders now have a pretty big gap over the rest of the field, who I think had to check up when the 56 came into pit. Not the run that Nitro would have wanted earlier on. Mitchell Carter still really close to the back bumper of DualShock. Coming out of turn 8, back onto the straightaway. See if he can pick up a little bit of draft and maybe get in position to make a move into the chicane. Closes in under braking. He's right on his rear bumper through the chicane. They both go out into the grass, and the rest of the pack is all over the place. The 45 of Cyclone, he's way out there as well. And look at the pack down the front straightaway. Everyone's going too wide into turn 1. The 68 of David Alvarez, the 48 of NASCAR Fan 48. They're both trying the inside of Anthony Lopez in the 75. And down the hill they go. Looks like they sort themselves out. David Alvarez going to lose that spot to the 75, but he will manage to stay in front of NASCAR Fan 48, appropriately in the number 48. DualShock still out front. He's got a few tenths over Mitchell Carter, who has managed to stay within fighting distance. The 48, meanwhile, gets to the inside of David Alvarez on the inside of turn 7, now the inside of turn 8, but Alvarez gets a good run, able to clear the 48 and stay in front out onto Starkey's straight and maybe setting himself up for a good run into the chicane. Anthony Lopez, meanwhile, is right on the back bumper of Cyclone. Has a peek to the inside, but no move just yet. Through the chicane now, he's on the inside, but doesn't get a good run out of the corner, but not as bad as David Alvarez, who goes way out onto the grass. He's going to lose to the 48, and there's cars all over the place. That racing kid also way out in the grass, and now it's Jake Corway around the outside of David Alvarez in turn 1. The 15 McDonald's Ford Fusion getting a good run through turn 2, and it looks like he's able to clear David Alvarez down into turn 3, and he's got the position for turn 4. DualShock, meanwhile, able to pull away quite a bit from Mitchell Carter, who did not get a good run through the chicane. So he's ahead by over a second now. And the 56 is still in the pits, so they're definitely working under the hood with something. I mean, he's been in there for, what is this, 3 laps now. The rest of the field's starting to spread out a little bit. Looks like everyone is pretty much single file. But it gets a little bit dicey here in the chicane. We got a lot of cars who have really struggled with the exit, but it looks like everyone is getting things under control. Huang Do eats up a little bit of grass. But it really sets us up for some good action here in turn 1. We're seeing a lot of 2-wide racing. Here's the 3 of Winty on the inside of Thick Daddy. Meanwhile, NJC on the inside of Cigar. But it looks like the outside of turn 2 just sets you up for a great turn 3. And these guys do seem to thread themselves out by the time they get down here to the old hairpin, turn number 4. Mitchell Carter, despite that one mistake, looks like he's starting to close in a little bit on DualShock again. And the rest of the pack hammed up a little bit behind Anthony Lopez and NASCAR Fan 48. And Nitro is still in the pits. He's been in there since lap 1. I wouldn't be surprised if they retire that car pretty soon. I don't know if I've seen someone sit in the pits for that long before. And the 80 goes way wide, but Mitchell Carter goes even further off into the grass. So what could have been a great opportunity to make up some ground absolutely does not work out. David Alvarez, meanwhile, getting a good exit. He's going to try the left side here of Jake Corway into turn 1. And if he can stick it around the outside, this might be a passing maneuver. Trying to retake that 7th spot. And it looks like he will. Both of these Coca-Cola sponsored cars, they're still going to go 2 wide here into turn 4 and almost contact. David Alvarez putting a big squeeze on Jake Corway, who admittedly very polite on the brakes. They get close together through turn 5, but David Alvarez will finally make up that spot, and he's back up into 7th place. Nitro still in the pits.
We'll split the field in half, and half of them can go the regular direction, half of them can go backwards.
Naughto 901
Oh, no.
cheered.
Oh, no.
X200.
Oh, no.
Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens.
All right. I appreciate you keeping the second half out of it. But god damn it, Nord, I think I know where that's going. If you guys were on Twitter last week, I think you'll get it. But thank you so much, Nord, for the 200 bits. And with, I believe it's this month, RPG-themed emotes on Twitch. If you donate 200 bits or more, not only do you get 2 emotes, but you give emotes out to 3 other members in the chat. So a nice little benefit if you want to give 200 biddies or more. And thank you so much, Nort, for all your support. And I guess a belated stream happy birthday. I think I wished you happy birthday a lot yesterday, but not on stream. So there you go. This one's for you, Nort. Nitro's still in the pits. Water is wet. Well, I guess that's debatable. Nitro being in the pits, definitely not. Nick Sant on a bit of a charge right now. Last couple of laps, he's been faster than the leaders, and he is catching up. We got 2 orange cars now here, just sitting 2nd and 3rd. And Nick Sant getting a pretty good exit out of the chicane. That's been a crucial point in the track. We're seeing all sorts of action as these drivers come through here. Now you've got that Arnold 2003 guy going to the inside of Jake Corway. The 15 has been dropping spots here quite a bit. See if he can make the inside of turn 1 work. It's been pretty tough for everyone so far. You can see the 15 just gets the power down way earlier. David Alvarez running a little bit wide through turn 2. Looked like he had 2 wheels in the grass almost. So the front, meanwhile, the top three still driving away from the rest of the pack. Cyclone and Anthony Lopez have been battling it out. Well, maybe not side by side, but Lopez has definitely had some looks to the inside of the 45 so far. Still a long way to go in this race as we're only on lap number 8 of 35. These drivers should be able to complete the entire event without a pit stop. So really, there's no excuses. They got to leave it all on the track. Although obviously Nitro's had some troubles. Great qualifying for that 56, but boy, this has been a nightmare of a race. That car is just not running at all. And hopefully at some point we'll get an update from the 56 team on what exactly happened to that car and whether or not they can fix it before the end of this race, because they're 6 laps down at this point and still counting. Top 3 still pulling away. The rest of the field pretty much single file down the hill here. Through the Craner curves. Last week's winner. Not last week, but last race. It was a couple weeks ago. Caleb Stroup in the 14 doing pretty well. He's sitting in 15th. An unusually good run here for Zachary Fitzwater, who's had terrible luck over the first set of races. If he wasn't slow, he was getting wrecked out. And you know what? Sometimes it was both, too. But here he is, back on the road courses, running up in 14th place. Oh, and we've got some action here for second place. The 40 of Nick Sant getting even closer to Mitchell Carter. Let me pull up the point standings so we can take a look at how these drivers are doing. Thick Daddy, who was in the lead of the points coming into this race. See if we can find him on track driving that number 81. It has not been a good day for him. Thick Daddy, he's back down in 21st place. Anthony Lopez, who's second in the points, he's sitting in the top 5 right now, so we could have a shakeup at the top of the standings. Thick Daddy not quite doing as well today as he has previously. Slow Motion, who's also doing very well in the points, he is currently down in 30th. Not great at all. Same with NJC, he's down in 27th, and I believe he just lost quite a few spots on the previous lap. So NJC must have made a mistake somewhere. He's dropped 3 spots in the previous lap. So Huang, Drayden Zen, and Jacob Hitz all got past him last time around. So some sort of issue with the 17. Let's go on board and see if we can spot exactly what happened here. And, oh boy, Nathan Kiani in the 32 really messed up that chicane. He is deep out in the grass and dropping back from the back of the pack. So NJC this lap, it looks like he just had a bad run through the chicane. Huang gets past him, coming through turn 2. And he must have made a mistake in the chicane at the end of the lap as well, because he goes way out in the grass and then loses a spot to the 77 and the 0. So not what NJC wants to see, especially in a race where you can't make it back on pit stops. We have a caution! Yellow flag in the air for the 45 of Cyclone. That car is absolutely wrecked. Hard into the wall. Where is this? Is turn 1. So Cyclone is trying to hold on to second place. These guys have been battling all day long. Anthony Lopez looks to the inside, but then the 48, NASCAR fan 48, gets into the back of the 75, and that takes the 45 off track straight into the wall. Big damage for Cyclone. That is not what you love to see. And I think that's going to be a retirement for him, no problem. Update from Nitro and the 56 team. They hit a beaver, and apparently they punched through the radiator and fuel lines, so that car is pretty much toast, but looks like they're going to see if they can repair it. Let's go again on board from the number 48 here of NASCAR Fan 48 and just sort of take apart exactly what happened. See the 75 Anthony Lopez looks to the inside. The 48's got a good run as well and just misjudges it. He just punches into the back of the 75, and unfortunately for Cyclone, he's just a victim. I think NASCAR Fan 48 was just trying to break as late as possible and maybe have a chance at the 75 through turn 2. Obviously misjudges it a little bit, and you can see the contact made. Nothing Anthony Lopez can do. And really unfortunate for Cyclone, because he was set for such a great finish, and now that's going to be a DNF for that team. So the field will race back to grab the caution flag, and I don't think we're going to go green this time. So one more pacing lap around. 45 is probably going to be retired. The 56 is still in the pits, and the rest of the pack is just trying to sort themselves out. So obvious reasons why we're not going green this time. It's the back of the pack. These guys were going something like 3 wide still. Ow! Nitro with the resub 3 months in a row. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nitro. That's great. I love it. I really do appreciate it. And I'm glad you're enjoying your sub and your sub rewards, like live timing and scoring for all the Sim Series events. Plus, of course, that fancy little DT logo and some sub emotes. I'm glad you enjoy it, and I'm glad you're resubbed, and we love having you here. Thank you so much, Nitro. All right, so lights are out on the pace car. Looks like we have no takers in pit road, understandably so, because we can get to the end of this race without any pit stops. So for lap number 14 of 35, we're going to be going green again. Can Nick Sant bring the fight to DualShock? He's worked his way up. We saw the 80 and the 88 had a big gap over the rest of the field, but Nick Sant worked his way up there, got past Mitchell Carter, and I think on this restart here, he might take advantage. He's now right behind DualShock, and they're going to be pushing hard. Anthony Lopez has held on to 4th place despite the bumper given to him from the 48 of NASCAR Fan 48. David Alvarez, Jake Corey, these guys have been slowly making progress. That 2003 guy's made some passes. He's up in 8th place. So I think the best run he's had all season long. And confirmation that Cyclone has retired the car. And Nitro is still in the pits. I don't think they're going to get that thing fixed, but boy, they're trying. Ooh, Nitro's got the purple badge now. That looks cool. Congratulations and thank you again. So, pace car ducks into the pits. The rest of the field lines up single file, and DualShock will take the green flag. We're racing again. Immediately, the 88 and the 75, they go to the inside, trying to bring the fight to Nick Sant. Mitchell Carter wants that 2nd place back, but I don't know if he can get a good exit out of the turn. Nick Sant gets a great exit, and he can now maybe put the fight to the 80 of DualShock. He's got a great run down the Craner curves, but he's going to sit behind the 80 for now, trying to time this move just right. We still have a long way to go in this race. And I was scared. I thought the flag man was waving a yellow flag, but that was bright green. Got a lot of racing still to go. The top few cars staying closer together. Anthony Lopez goes a little bit wide through turn number 7, and again, you can see almost immediately the top 3 pulling away from the rest of the pack. These guys are in a class of their own. Down Starkey straight into the chicane for the very first time in this run. This is going to be very interesting. See what these guys can do. Nick Sant on the brakes goes to the outside through the first turn, the inside through the second turn, and Mitchell Carter goes way out into the grass. He got really loose through the turn. Anthony Lopez got a great exit. He's looking to the inside for 2nd place. Can he make up 2 positions in 1 set of turns? Not quite. They got really close together through turn 1, but Nick Sant able to stay ahead for now. David Alvarez still using that really wide line through turn 2. And boy, the 88 has fallen back. He has dropped back down into 6th place from 3rd. Big mistake for him, and that's going to take a while if he's going to try and crawl back into the podium positions here. Back of the pack still looking pretty clean. No more wrecks as of yet. Still some battles on track, as you can see. Fitzy looking to the inside of Caleb Stroup, and that racing kid on Dysick, no move quite yet. On to Starkey straight and into the chicane. This is where things have gotten interesting. DualShock, meanwhile, able to pull away a little bit from Nick Sant, but you can see that 40 is pretty good under brakes. And gets a great exit onto the straightaway. Onto the front stretch they go, looking a little bit more tame this time around. We're seeing less cars way out into the grass in the background of the picture. Anthony Lopez, he's managing to stay close behind Nick Sant here. Unlike the first run, it looks like the 75 has a little bit more speed. He's able to keep up with the top two. Mitchell Carter, meanwhile, still, after he's fallen back, not really much he's done. The rest of the field looking pretty well handled. Although 24 of that racing kid on the inside of turn 6. Now he's going to be on the outside of turn 7. Does he have a move here on Cody Boggs? This would certainly be an interesting place to pass, but he's got a good run out of 7. He's going to have to hang it around the outside of turn 8. That move won't quite work. At least not at this point in the race. I'm sure these drivers are just going to get more and more aggressive as the days go on and the laps click by. We're almost halfway through this race already. Again, the chicane looking like a bit of a chaos spot. Everyone's trying to get a good exit onto the straightaway, and it looks like Fitzwater does. He's trying to hold off an attack from the one of TS Media racing here on his birthday. We, of course, wish TS Media a very happy birthday, but not quite a fantastic run. He's sitting down in 15th right now. Probably not the gift he would have wanted, but still a nice haul of points for him. Well, Kiani, it could be worse. At least you haven't sat in the pits through every single lap of this race. So yeah, it definitely could be worse. DualShock still managing to stay in the lead. He's led every single lap from the pole. Although Nick Sant has come pretty close. I wouldn't be surprised if that 40 eventually makes a move. I mean, one mistake from the 80, and Nick Sant is absolutely right there. Down the front straightaway, everything pretty under control. Top 3 again sort of breaking away from the rest of the field, but this time it's Anthony Lopez in that group. Nick Sant running a very different line to the other top 2 through turn 2. We've seen some really differing runs there. Some guys trying to keep their momentum out of turn 1. Some of them trying to set themselves up for turn 3 a little bit better. But it looks like in the end it all kind of works out pretty evenly. Anthony Lopez gets a very good run through turn 7. You can see the ground he made up on Nick Sant. But still not close enough to make a move. See if they can get a little bit of draft down Starkey Straight and close in for this crazy chicane. I mean, we've seen cars sliding all over the place, especially through the final turn. And really, if any move is set up, it looks like this is the place that it's done. Anthony Lopez gets a pretty good run, but not that much better than the rest of the leaders. And it looks like everything is well and sorted for now. But now we've got some action deep in the pack. The 17 of NJC, he gets around Jacob Hitz pretty easily. Slow Motion and Roger Gregory, these guys are fighting down for 30th place, but still a close fight. Getting really tight together in turn 1, but it looks like Roger Gregory will be completing the pass through turn 2. And it looks like that's the place to do it. You get on the outside through turn 1, you get a really good exit through 2, and it sets you up for turn 3. And it looks like most drivers are opting for that as the best place to pass here around Donington Park. DualShock led every single lap of the race so far, but can't really get comfortable. He's not really pulling away from everyone else. The whole pack is staying pretty close together. As through the chicane, gets not quite as good of a run as the 40. You can see the 48 of NASCAR fan really sliding coming out of turn 10. And it looks like Nick Sant is closer than ever to the number 80 as the 75 takes that wide line through turn 2. Nick Sant last time around gained about a 10th on DualShock, which may not sound like a lot, but over time, that kind of thing can add up. Yeah, they shouldn't have to pit at all, but you know, some cars obviously have had some issues. The rest of the pack, meanwhile, still pretty much single file, but again, anything can happen in this chicane. We've seen cars all over the place. I mean, we saw what happened to Cyclone in turn 1. This race is absolutely not over yet. Anthony Lopez hard on the brakes, goes a little bit wide through the first corner, and that's not going to set him up for a good exit here. But it looks like he's got a big enough gap over NASCAR Fan 48 that he's not in danger going into turn 1. And it looks like everyone's going to stay pretty much in order for now. That racing kid in the 24 still trying to get past Cody Boggs. Now with ascended into turn 1. See if he can get a good exit out of 2. Not quite. Those are trees, yes. It looks like it's hard to get a good exit out of turn 1. And really not a great place to pass if you're on the inside. What if we'll see drivers start to try and hang it around the top? Mitchell Carter, since he dropped back, has just been struggling. Nothing great from him. And problems for Fitzy. Oh, no. Right when I had said the 59 was having a good run, a big mistake. He's dropped way down the order, and he's coming in the pits. So not a mistake from Fitzy, but I think they've got a right side puncture. He had to jump in the pits and take tires. Definitely not something necessary here. But he took right side tires in the pits, so, I mean, obviously better than a puncture leading to a wreck, but definitely not what he wanted. Meanwhile, Nick Sant has closed into DualShock for the lead. You can see the 80 running really wide through turn 2. And Nick Sant last time by was almost 3/10 faster. So not a good lap at all for DualShock. And maybe feeling the pressure now from the 40 and, of course, the 75 of Anthony Lopez. Boy, Fitzy's had such a terrible season. It looked so great coming in for that 59 team. But race after race, he's been at the bottom of the order, whether it's crashes or just lack of speed or just unluckiness like here today. 30 bits from T-Bone. Thank you. Hello. Welcome. Hope you're enjoying the show here from Donington Park. Nick Sant gets a very tight exit out of the last turn, and now he's under attack from the 75 of Anthony Lopez. Lopez to the inside through turn 1. This is such a tough spot to pass on the track. I don't think he's going to be able to make it work. Nick Sant will hold on to second place, but that was pretty dangerous. You can't be doing that very much, and as we're approaching 10 to go, every pass is going to be more and more important. So Anthony Lopez certainly putting on the pressure here to Nick Sant. He would like to take the lead, but right now he's got to worry about that white and green Toyota Camry in his rearview mirror. DualShock saying over the radio, that is exactly what he wants to see, these guys battling behind him. Because he just wants to check out and be comfortable, but the rest of the field has been keeping him on his toes so far. Still a good amount of battles deep in the pack. These drivers are staying pretty close together. Maybe it has to do with these long straights. Anthony Lopez goes really wide through the first set of corners. Now he's under attack from NASCAR Fan 48, who gets a way better exit out of the final turn. And move that 48 up into third place. So when it looked like Anthony Lopez could have taken second, he's now dropped all the way back down to fourth. One bad exit out of turn 10, and you're just a sitting duck for the rest of the front straightaway. That is such an important part of the track, and if you get it wrong... Remember when Mitchell Carter was in second place? He's stuck in sixth, and really has made no progress since he got dropped back there. And this is exactly what Nick Sant wants to see. These guys are still battling behind him. Looks like the 48's holding up Anthony Lopez maybe just a little bit. And the driver of that Reese's Ford Fusion can hopefully focus on trying to close in on DualShock, who's led every single lap so far today. DualShock just trying not to make a mistake through this final chicane. Looks like he gets it cleanly. Anthony Lopez does not. And again, the 75 might lose a spot, this time to David Alvarez, but the 68 didn't have a really good run out of there either. He's not close enough to make a lunge into turn 1. Boy, the 48 eats up the curbs coming out of turn 2, trying to set himself up maybe for a better turn 3. But it looks like he lost some ground to the leaders. Nick Sant closing in under braking through turn 4. Just a couple of car lengths between himself and first place DualShock. As we're approaching 10 to go, these guys are going to be pushing harder than ever. He's got Reese's on the car, but let's see how hungry the driver of that number 40 is in the late stages here at Donington Park. On to Starkey's straight, now setting up for the all-important chicane. See who gets a better run out of here. Looks pretty even. The 40 maybe goes a little bit wider. And NASCAR Fan 48 had a great line through there again. He's going to be looking to the inside of the 40. This is for second place. NASCAR Fan 48 almost given the bumper, but will not get a good enough exit. So again, the inside of turn 1 is just not the place to be. And DualShock again elated by these drivers fighting for second place. Nick Sant just unable to close and bring the battle to the 80. Nathan Chiani, meanwhile, has finally made his way out of dead last. Not just because of Fitzy's pit stop, but now he's gotten around the outside of John Felber. Not a good day for that 73 as well. We're going to have a pretty big shakeup here in the point standings, especially if DualShock goes home with this victory. I mean, going into this race, DualShock is sitting 29th in the points. Wow. So yeah, he would certainly shoot up the order. But they're side by side for second, and this time NASCAR Fan 48 learns from his mistakes, and he goes around the outside of Nick Sant through turn 1, gets the exit out of turn 2, and I think that was just a mistake from the 40. I don't know if that was so much a mistake as just a great run from the 48. I mean, he hooked up the apex of that final corner and just had a fantastic line down the straightaway. He's up into second place, and boy, that 48 car is on fire. And it looks like Dumbledore lost a couple of spots as well. He went way out onto the grass. Hopefully he kept it out of the wall. It looks like he has. In through the chicane, NASCAR Fan 48 goes wide through the first corner, now trying to get the inside through the second, but not a good exit, and Nick Sant is going to retake second place. And these guys have been going back and forth lap after lap. And for the 80 team and DualShock, he loves to see it. The more these guys occupy each other, the more he can start to pull away, and you can see the gap growing. I mean, every lap, he's at least 2/10 faster than whoever's in second place. The 56 hasn't retired, but I think they're pretty much done. They might just walk away from the car at this point and leave it in the pits. He's 25 laps down. In a race where we've completed 27 laps. So down the front straightaway, or sorry, the Starkey straightaway. Now through the chicane again, can Nick Sant finally set his eyes on taking the lead from DualShock? He's been so close for so much of the race, but just hasn't had the aggression he needs. I mean, we saw it when he dropped back into third. He immediately took second away from NASCAR Fan 48. He just has to turn up the wick. But obviously be careful in that final chicane, because it's so easy to gain speed. It's also so easy to make a mistake and lose a whole bunch of speed. As we've seen several drivers go way out onto the grass so far today. Nearing the final stages here in the Sega European GP. This battle for second is still red hot. NASCAR Fan 48 will not go down without a fight. And Nick Sant is probably the busiest driver on the racetrack right now. Through the final chicane again. DualShock with not a great exit. That's going to allow Nick Sant to close in a little bit. The rest of the field gets through there pretty cleanly. As Orioles back on the track this week does not get a great run at all. And the 16 of Mountain Dew Fan for Life gets past him pretty easily. As we see Pantallica and Thick Daddy, they're going side by side through turn 1 and turn 2. But again, that outside is so strong. And move that 81 up into 18th place. Points leader getting all he can out here on the track with almost 5 laps to go. Just over 5 to go. DualShock still in the lead by about half a second over Nick Sant and NASCAR Fan 48, Anthony Lopez, all these feisty drivers who just can't quite close to the rear bumper of the 80. Gets a little bit wide through the final chicane. Nick Sant's got a run on him, and he's going to the inside into turn 1. This is for the lead. It's such a hard spot to pass, though. I don't think Nick Sant can do it. DualShock gets the power down and clears him through turn 2, holding on to the lead. It's a tough spot in the track, but DualShock may be cracking under pressure now. He'd been perfect up to this point, but now starting to make a few mistakes, and if Nick Sant can keep it clean, maybe he'll have a shot at this race win. But he's going a little bit wide through turn 7. That's going to cost him coming up the hill. He's got to get a good exit here. Looks like DualShock eating up a little bit more of the inside curb. See if that benefits him and hopefully doesn't make a mistake through this terribly difficult chicane. Turn 9 and turn 10. I mean, it's a chicane between 2 straightaways. It is such a tough part of the track. Nick Sant gets a really good run, and now he's on the left side of DualShock. If he can hang it around the outside of turn 1, this could be the winning move. Nick Sant in the 40 on the outside of DualShock in the 80. I don't think Dual's going to give anything up. But the 40 drives it deep around the outside of turn 1. Now he's got a great exit onto turn 2. And Nick Sant takes the lead with just 4 laps to go. So move that Reese's Ford Fusion into the lead, and DualShock must be fuming. He's led every single lap so far, and he can't let this race get away from him. Not now. I mean, he's got to fight back. He's got 3.5 laps to do it. And Nick Sant at this point will just be trying to get some space between himself and the rest of the pack. Down the Starkeys straightaway. Nick Sant pulling away a little bit. He's got about 4 car lengths over DualShock. He's got to nail this chicane. This is such an important part of the track every single lap, and it looks like they're pretty much even through there. 3 laps to go at Donington Park. Deep in the field, we got more cars going wide, but it looks like everyone is pretty much staying single file. As we've got the 24 and the 7 side by side again through turn 1. This has been a battle all day long. And Cody Boggs will keep holding on to that spot. Nick Sant, after making the pass, he's gone 0.7 of a second faster in the previous lap. DualShock feeling the pressure. Maybe it's tire wear, but maybe it's just driver error. Nick Sant fell back down to 3rd, but he has been perfect since then. Crawled his way into the lead and starting to pull away from everybody else. As they're approaching 2 laps to go, this chicane, if he makes one mistake through here, the whole race is blown open. So it is far from over. DualShock got a bit of a better run, and Anthony Lopez got a great turn. He's up into 3rd place. So with 2 to go, the 75 has moved himself back up into the podium positions. Mitchell Carter, meanwhile, with a little bit of pressure from the 15 of Jake Corway, as well as Ethan Head and NASCAR Fan 09. They're battling together. But the story of the day is still Nick Sant, now ahead by 2/3 of a second. Nick Sant with the crowd behind him pulling away from DualShock in the 80s, struggling on those tires. Can Anthony Lopez get him for second place? It's all about that final chicane and the exit onto the front straightaway. Nick Sant clear by several car lengths now. Into this uphill braking zone, and then the tight right and left turns 9 and 10, and the 40 has been nailing it recently. Goes a little bit out on the grass, but I think he'll be okay. White flag in the air for Nick Sant. He took the lead with just a few laps to go, and we've got some battles deep in the pack here. Jake Corway had a look at Mitchell Carter, but no move quite yet. All he's got to do is run cleanly through the rest of the lap. If Nick Sant can just keep it together, keep it out of the grass, and get a clean exit out of the final chicane, victory will be his. Nick Sant going into this race pretty deep in the point standings. Can he finally get a win for this number 40 team? Down Starkey straightaway for the final time. It's the last run through the chicane. He just has to get it clean, keep it out of the grass, keep it off of the curbs. And he does. Oh, he goes pretty far wide, but I think he'll be okay. Nick Sant wins the Sega European Grand Prix at Donington Park. And boy, what a show it was. DualShock will take second place, and he will not be happy about it. He led 31 laps out of 35 just to fall short of a victory. Anthony Lopez fought very hard for his third place, rounding off the podium. And then NASCAR Fan 48, who at one point looked like he might have a shot at the win, eventually he dropped down to fourth, and David Alvarez ends up with a clean and tidy top 5 finish. What a show. What a fantastic race. So Nick Sant will be celebrating with some Reese's in victory lane. But we must get things moving pretty quickly here. This is race 5, right? Race 4. I know what I'm doing. So we can take a look at the final standings here. Not a good run. Cyclone retired. Nitro never officially retired, but he ended up 34 laps down in a 35-lap race. Cyclone unfortunately caught up in a pretty big accident that really wasn't his doing. Zachary Fitzwater with a puncture drops down into 34th, and the rest of the cars sort of sorted it out on their own. All right, so we've seen some great action, but it is not over yet, because in around 15 to 20 minutes, I might put it for 5:30. Just stay tuned, all right? Get a quick wash and break, get some food, because the Sim Series is at Bristol, and oh baby, there's no better show. Fantastic chaos there last season. I'm sure it's going to be a good time this season. And with that, I will return. Just give me a few minutes. Things got to get set up. Maybe I'm a little bit behind, but maybe it's okay. I'll be there, all right? It's Bristol, baby. We're going to have 42 cars under the lights. It's going to be chaos. So with that, just take a quick break. It's not, I won't say the stream ended. I'm just going to say we're going to be back. We're going to be back, all right? Just stick around. We're going to be back. Get a quick break, hop in the Discord, maybe have a little chat. If you're not in the Discord, you definitely should be in the Discord. Link in the descriptions below the thing. Just it's there, all right? Stick around.